Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Zero Dark Nerdy, the world's most notorious pop culture podcast, brought to you by the Believe Podcast Network, betonline.ag, and of course, our good friends over at rabbitcomics.com. Back in the building, we have the lovely Julie Johnson from the Fangirls podcast joining us after her brief little stint at PaleyFest, but we are here to talk about Milestones. We have a lot to celebrate. For those of you that may not know, the Fangirls podcast, we've been following each other for, I think going on like a couple of years now, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So, she's going to tell you about what's going on with them. We always have some stuff to celebrate on our end too. So we figure we just mash this up into one just very fan happy, as fans of both podcasts. Episodes,
yes.
And then be able to go from there.
So we just recently hit our 100th episode and it's been such a wild ride. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how I just started off so insecure about editing audio to being at our 100th episode. And it's been so much fun. And there's so many great networking opportunities. You meet new people. Mm-hmm. I can tell you, especially during the pandemic, when you're in your home and trying to stay safe and you get to meet all these great people through a channel that you didn't know existed until you opened your mind to start it.
Right.
And I mean, meeting you and your team and the Believe team, they've been great throughout this whole process. It's just been so much fun. But do you have any favorite episodes?
As far as our favorite episodes, so yeah, we're hitting 5 years now for Zero Dark Nerdy.
Yeah.
When we started off, it was one of those things to where I know that none of us were crazy about the name. We just wanted to get started. I think that's a big thing for all of our listeners out there that are considering starting a podcast and you're trying to figure out the perfect name. Just pick a name that you like and know eventually that you'll be able to change it. So,
right.
Because
exactly.
we would have waited till we had, the quote unquote perfect name, it would have been, 2 years after we originally wanted to start our podcast. Mm-hmm. And so we started off as multi-poptural. We try to be clever with multicultural and pop culture in two names. And obviously it was very confusing for a lot of people to pronounce, to say, even to us. I remember our first sponsor, big shout outs to Daniel Leonard over there at Gate City Growlers. We told him what the name of the podcast was. And literally he was like, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard in my entire life. So that's definitely one of my first memories is me, Saba, our buddy Jerry. I know Matthew was still going through his heart transplant. So it was the three of us just going through people that we knew, being like, hey, listen, there's a studio that just opened up here in downtown Greensboro. So big ups to Press Play Studios. And we just knew, and I knew, I love pop culture so much. And this is something I'm so adamant about. Like, let's just do it. Let's have something that's ours. We can have some fun. If it becomes like a Joe Rogan-ish podcast to where this is all we do and we don't have to do anything else for money, great. But we always knew that was going to be a very uphill battle because a lot of people don't know Joe Rogan didn't just start off as Joe Rogan. He's been in the podcasting game from day one.
Right.
And if you watch his first episodes compared to now, you see that transition.
Right.
So it's a marathon and not a race. And we knew that. And at the end of the day, it's one of those things to where I have my 9 to 5. I want something that I really enjoy that's going to be my 5 to 9.
There you go.
Yeah. So as far as favorite episodes, I do love our beginnings there. Again, big shout out to Press Play Studios. Our very first episodes were on the MCU. Oh, go ahead. Oh, it's all right.
So sorry.
It's okay.
Excuse me.
It was on at that point, the MCU universe before we got into Infinity War. And then at that point, we were also still very into Walking Dead. So it was like right when Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan joined The Walking Dead. And it just went from there. It went from 5 really good friends, which we still are, to where we are now as Zero Dark Nerdy, 5 years in. Our partners at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest odds, news, and sports developments for the NBA playoffs, Major League Baseball, fights, and NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all sports wagering needs, including live betting and the fan favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's really easy to get started. Head to the website or use our mobile device to sign up and use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. So between favorite episodes, a couple of the first ones are really good. As far as some recent ones, we have some really great interviews with guests like Emma Horvath, who was just in the movie Who Are You People? Arian Moayed, who you may know him from, he was a lawyer in Inventing Anna, and he's also Stewie in Succession. Phenomenal actor, great interview.
Wow.
And it's just awesome getting to know these people. A lot of these interviews, they come in during press days, so you only get but so much time. And we were very fortunate to have more than 10 minutes with Arian Moayed. So be sure to check that one out. And then we have some ones in there. We did one on like guilty pleasure Netflix shows, which is always great to see what everybody's guilty pleasure TV show is. And just like a little sneak peek. Mine, I love me some Below Deck, which isn't on Netflix, but I really love some Selling Sunset. So that's my guilty pleasure show. But it's been a great run, and like I said, being able to run into people like you, Julie, and Fangirls Podcast, and everything that Believe has brought on to us has been fantastic. So as you are now at 100 episodes, what are some of your favorite episodes?
So the Fangirls Podcast wouldn't have started if it weren't for our Harry Potter conspiracy theory episodes. Okay, it's a 2-part. As most of the world had plenty of downtime during the pandemic. I'll say it. My batshit crazy passion was I rewatched all the Harry Potters, and as a very dedicated Potter fan, I also watched the prequels and the Fantastic Beasts series. And the second movie ended on a pretty heavy cliffhanger. And I was like, I bet I can figure out the rest of the series. I've got the time to do it. Yeah. And then I had a couple friends send me some Harry Potter conspiracy theory TikTok videos, which kept me up all night. And next thing I know, I'm doing a link chart and I look absolutely nuts. And there's nothing else to call it other than crazy. Yeah. But putting those storylines together, at the time, Lauren and I were going to do a blog. She had a blog that was geared towards Outlander, and she was like, well, what if we just make it a blog post? And I was like, okay, that's fine. And we were about 90% done with the blog. And then she suggested, why not make it a podcast? And I was like, well, what else would we talk about? We can't just talk about Potter. And she's like, yeah, but we love other fandoms. And that's how it escalated. So that one will always hold a special place in my heart, because when I wrote that episode out, it's my thesis. This will be my dying legacy. I got it copywritten through the Writers Guild. I can show the work on how I got the answers. It's very near and dear to my heart. And I want to someday turn this into a documentary on how I got these answers. And I just think that would be the dream. But that one will always hold a special place in my heart. We have a handful of Outlander episodes that I absolutely love, because I got to meet a great group of women called Outlander SoCal. Okay. And they're a huge Outlander fan base in Southern California. The cast of Outlander has given them so many shout outs over the years because they recognize the fan base and they appreciate them so much. And they're great women. They've been with the book series from start to finish and encourage the cast anytime they can. They go to all of their premieres, and doing those episodes with them has been a lot of fun. But I'll say this. I also love fangirling with my friends who I bring on the show. Yeah. And hearing how passionate they are about their fandoms. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Marvel. I love
Yeah.
Star Wars and Emily in Paris and White Lotus, but hearing my friends fangirl over them, and bringing them into it and showing them how much fun podcasting is, it's a treat. It really is.
Yeah.
But for our 100th episode, a lot of craziness happened. I very randomly, or I'll say very unexpectedly, moved to Vegas. Yeah. It was a total plot twist, moved to Vegas. And in the midst of this move, I have to keep up on shows and movies and everything else in between.
Yeah.
And Magic Mike ended up being our 100th episode.
Okay.
And my friend who lives down the road, who's also been on the show, she was like, let's get you out of the house. Let's go see a movie. It'll be great. And it ended up being Magic Mike. And we both really loved it. We were like, let's go to the live show. This will be a lot of fun. We can cover it on the podcast. It's a tax write-off. Do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. I'll get out of the house, be social, get dolled up, go Vegas. And we had a great time. One of our other friends flew in for the show and we recorded it. It was a great episode. And then the day after it aired, the Magic Mike PR team reached out to us. And they run the live show here in Vegas and worldwide in Australia, Miami, London, and Texas. They're soon opening the show in Texas. Yeah. And they reached out, said how much they loved the episode, told us or invited us back for an encore, and thanked us for highlighting all the main points that covered their show. Because it is more than just, guys stripping.
Right.
It is. Right. There is a lot more to it.
Yeah.
But to hear that compliment from them when I started off so insecure about editing audio to get to that point, I mean, I fangirled the whole day. I could not focus at work. I was screenshotting everything, sending it to the girls.
Yeah.
I don't know how I got any work done that day because I was just over the moon that on our 100th episode, it led me here.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, it was just so rewarding. And the amount of gratitude they showed for us covering their episode.
Yeah.
It was just very humbling. It was so rewarding and I didn't expect it. And it was just one of those milestone moments that I'm really grateful for.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. You get all the air horns for that. That is
yay.
Fantastic. I mean, I have nothing to compare to that at all whatsoever. And that's such a great story. Because as soon as you were like, there are people reached out to us, I was like, oh God, oh Lord, like what kind of licensing shit did they put you through? And that's a direction I thought that was going. Where it was like, okay, now you need to take this episode down and it could never be aired until we like sign off on it.
Right.
But, wow, that is so amazing.
No, though, and of course, the second I send that group chat to my two friends who were at the show with me and recorded with me, they told their moms want to come to the show now.
Yeah.
They were just so incredibly kind and generous and just thankful that we highlighted the true meaning of their show.
Yeah.
And I didn't so much talk about the movie as much as I wanted to.
Sure.
But the show was so great.
Yeah.
And let's go be friends with Magic Mike guys. That sounds like a great plan. I'm in.
Right.
Let's go be neighborly. They're right up the road.
And that's crazy how this was like a night that you didn't plan. This wasn't even a podcast that you planned. It was just your friend just trying to get you out of the house, which turned into an amazing 100th episode, which turned into an amazing experience.
Yes. It was a beautiful experience. And I texted both of them and I was like, you guys really made this a very magical milestone. And I feel really grateful to have been able to do that with them. Yeah. It was just great. I could not be more grateful for it.
Oh, that's phenomenal. And it's really good too, when you see, whether if it's a movie company, no matter what it is, like people that just show gratitude and appreciation. Cause I feel like you and I are very similar. It's just, we're always like glasses half full people. We want to believe in some people. So it's great to get that in return, especially in this crazy podcast industry that we're in. It's just like, oh, well, you don't have 2 million followers, so I'm not going to grant you an interview and I'm not going to do this, that, or the other. Or you barely even get a reply back. And you were just, hey, this wasn't, sponsored. This wasn't promoted. I did this on my own, and now I'm getting promotion because, I mean, to them, of course, it's big picture. It's like, yeah, you know, we just released Magic Mike 3, but at the end of the day, they're like, the Magic Mike show is going to go on a lot longer, like Thunder from Down Under. Right. Going to become the new Magic Mike show. Let's just be honest. Yes. So, I mean, they're capitalizing on the genuineness of your podcast, first and foremost, to be like, hey, this is not something that we paid for. This isn't someone that we brought out to, you know, give us all the kudos. We want to support them, and you're supporting them at the same time, which is a beautiful story.
Yeah, they retweeted our episode. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, it was just the utmost amount of kindness that I did not expect. And I even told them, like, hey, you guys are our 100th episode. Yeah. Do you guys have any fun milestones coming up? Let us know. We're happy to cover it. Yeah. And they just said, let me check, and we'll get back to you. And I was just like, wow, what is life right now? What is life? And here we are. It's been a crazy, 4 months, and here we are right now. So, but very grateful for it.
I love it. Julie, I mean, no one deserves it more than you. The trials and tribulation. I mean, a lot of people know this, her and I are good friends. It's not just someone that I just talk to on like podcast episodes. Like, we text each other minimum once a week, checking in on each other. She's gone through this crazy move to Vegas and has had a lot going on. So it's so phenomenal. And I had no idea, like, this is my genuine surprise. Right. I wanted to save it for this episode. I'm so glad you did. So glad you did. And I just love having you on for that, because this is why we do what we do. At the end of the day, if we do become a Joe Rogan-esque podcast, great. But we know that it is a marathon and not a race. And you just meet these wonderful people. Like, I've got to meet Julie. And it's just one of those things where it's just like, we just want to see each other succeed. Like, the podcasting nation as a general is not a very hateful nation unless you're really just trying to like rip someone else's idea off continuously. I mean, we all get motivation from each other, of course, and ideas from each other, just like every other industry does, music, film. I mean, how many remakes do we see in the film and TV industry? Exactly. So it's always great to see someone else getting their kudos, and well deserved, and that's such an amazing story. I'm sitting here, I'm like starstruck a little bit, because it's amazing. Oh yeah, no, I like, when I tell you, I have no idea how I got any work done at my 9 to 5 that day. I don't remember that the rest of the day. I was like, what? Did I work? Did I work at all? I just remember texting my friends and not being able to focus at all. And just like, am I seeing this correctly? I'm like going back into my DMs from the Magic Mike team. I was like, is this real? Is this real? This is real. I'm screenshotting it because it's real. And here you go. But it was great. And I can't wait to see what comes next. So, speaking of coming next, I mean, where do you see yourself, whether the next 50 episodes, 100 episodes, especially with the move to Vegas, just from what you've seen in Vegas, do you feel, I guess, kind of a two-part question, obviously, where do you see yourself 50, 100 episodes from now, but do you feel you have easier access to celebrities in Vegas? I guess kind of, I mean, you're not that you're coming from a small market. I mean, you're coming from, I was in SoCal. A big market. Yeah. You were in SoCal. So, just kind of, I guess, kind of talk on both points. Do you think the market in Vegas will help you out a little bit? Especially now with this publicity that you're getting with the Magic Mike show. And then, where do you see the next 50 to 100 episodes coming in at? Well, it's kind of a trip, because I lived in Long Beach, so I was a good 30 to 45 minute drive from the heart of LA and entertainment there. But being this close, I mean, I'm in Vegas, I can see the stratosphere from my apartment. So I'm not far from anything or everything. Like, I'm right down the road from Allegiant Stadium. It's wild to see, all the hotels and shows and whatnot. In a perfect world, 100 episodes, five years from now, I'd love to be going to more fan events, maybe hosting a panel, moderating a panel for Comic-Con. That would be awesome. Yeah.
that's the dream. I don't know, networking opportunities happen when you least expect it. But if it comes to pass and I wholeheartedly embrace it. I would love to see where it takes me. This has been one of the things that I really enjoy about this job is how much I get to do this from home.
Right.
And I'm doing this partially in my PJs, excuse me.
Oh, you're fine.
But but that's the beauty of it. My 9 to 5, I work from home.
Yeah.
So getting to go out and be extroverted for the podcast is an absolute treat for me.
Yeah.
So maybe I will go to a Shania Twain show or what is it? I don't know if Trevor Noah comes into town for a comedy show, whatever the case may be, I'm in. But yeah, it's another entertainment hub that's in my backyard that I feel really grateful to have. And it's exciting. And I've got a friend right down the road. She's a flight attendant. She's been on the show a handful of times. So I was like, hey, guess who's coming to town?
Right.
Or if we have this new residency, I know I have a great travel buddy and or, show buddy. We're going to a fandom bar at the end of the month to celebrate a lot of things. So I'm excited.
As you should. You just got done going to PaleyFest in LA. So give us a little bit of the dish or the tea, as you like to spill the tea. Yes.
Yes. We like to dish and spill the tea on all of our all of your favorite fandoms. And we got to cover the Mandalorian panel and the Yellowstone panel. And PaleyFest was at the historic Dolby Theater. This is where they hold the Oscars. It was gorgeous. Our seats were great. So shout out to Kaon at Map 360.
Oh, Kaon. Love you, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah. And we paid $50 for our Mandalorian tickets and had great seats.
Nice.
No complaints. I was very happy with where we were. And the Mandalorian panel was phenomenal. I think that was the panel that was completely sold out. Obviously, that tracks. Totally tracks. They specifically did not list who was going to be there, as far as cast goes, but they did drop Favreau and Filoni, and everybody else was like kind of up in the air. I think they were trying to arrange schedules. Pedro Pascal was amazing to the fans, absolutely, as was Katie Sackhoff. They did their job. They told us how much this journey meant to them, how they both grew up as Star Wars fans. Hearing Katie Sackhoff's journey as Bo-Katan, beautiful. Could bring tears to my eyes, honestly. Yeah. Pedro Pascal, he gave the audience everything they wanted and more. I went with my 2 friends, both former PhotoPass Disney cast members with me. So this was our little mini reunion to fangirl and geek out and catch up on life. And my friend Shireen, who's been a correspondent on our show a handful of times, or more than a handful of times, she's a very dedicated Star Wars fan. Yeah. So we were going, she was our Darth Vader. We were her stormtroopers. We were there to support her more than anything. Yeah. And we were in it for the ride. We were just like, yeah, Star Wars, we're in. Sounds great. And she wants to be an actor someday. And we're like, we're manifesting this. We're going to go with you. We're here to support. And I'm not saying she lost her ish when Pedro Pascal came out, but she lost her ish in all the right ways. And it was so great.
She didn't faint, right?
No. Okay. She was like, oh my God, this is okay. Like all of us do. And it just, I was so glad that I was able to be there to witness it firsthand with her. Yeah. And see her freak out. That was its own rewarding treat in itself. Yeah. They did show, there was no special footage. We thought we were going to get a bonus episode or something. Nope. It was this week's episode. And I think that was the only ounce of disappointment amongst the crowd. We're like, come on. We wanted maybe a Ahsoka trailer.
Right.
Or maybe a teaser for next week or, BTS of the season, something. Nope. It was Star Wars is on lockdown. we will. I think that was the other pretty cool thing. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have mastered the art of saying everything and nothing at the same time to dance around the questions that they were getting because they were both so nervous about giving out spoilers.
Yeah.
And the irony is the following week, they released the Ahsoka trailer.
Right.
And we caught him almost slipping up. He was about to say Sabine.
Yeah.
In an answer. And Dave was like, oh, God. Hey, Dave, why don't we not do that?
Squirrel.
And yeah, he was about to say Sabine and he said sub. And we were like, Sabine? Oh, my God. Did he? Oh, did he? And Dave was like, hey, bro, let's not do that right now.
Yeah.
You mean
we're going to eat after this?
Stormtrooper. Yeah. That's great. And he's like Dave Filoni is nervously laughing to himself, like, oh, I don't know. Did we say everything and nothing at the same time? Did they pick up what we were putting down? Oh, God, what did we do? And Shireen picked up on it. I knew that they were trying to say something and slipped up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun. Yeah. And they didn't have any major announcements.
Right.
Like we were expecting any Star Wars news. They could have told us that.
It's also too, because it was so close to the Star Wars event. And, that's
correct.
The thing.
That's a good point.
It was so close to it to where it's like, okay, we're going to give the fans just like a little sprinkle. But then at the Star Wars event, this is where we launched the Ahsoka trailer and everything else.
Right. Which totally tracks. It was in London. I get it. A week out, whatever. I'm not bitter. It's fine. So anyhow,
the second panel, for those of us down here in North Carolina, fans across the U.S., of course, but especially down here in the South, a lot of Yellowstones fans down here. So what can you give us, spoiler free-ish, from the PaleyFest Yellowstone panel?
Okay. Well, they did not make any huge announcements.
Okay.
I have to say it. I was kind of bummed and
I remember sad
for this panel. PaleyFest had announced that the whole cast was going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
None of the cast was there.
Yeah. and
Taylor Sheridan was supposed to be there. He was also a no call, no show in this event, which is just bad show. Yeah. You don't do this to the fans. The demographic of folks that were there, it was older couples who were there for a date night. Like, you could tell folks came in from either out of state or out of town.
Yeah.
To support this show, this fan base, these actors, and not one of them showed up. And it wasn't until, so the way that they run the show, the PaleyFest panel, is you'll have a board member, a higher end board member, come out, try and spiel, like, be a Paley member, this is great, this is why, come support our events and film.
Right.
And he came and did his spiel, and you watch an episode of whatever show the panel is highlighting.
Sure.
And it wasn't a new episode. Again, no BTS. It was the last episode before the season ended. And we were like, okay, that's fine. That happened with Star Wars. Totally fine.
Sure.
And it was like an hour-long episode. So we're sitting there, excited for the cast to come out. And then the same guy comes out shaking nervously and was like, unfortunately, the intended cast that was originally scheduled had some production scheduling issues and couldn't make it. And half the crowd was confused. The other half was like, oh, that's an April Fool's joke, because it was on April 1st.
Right.
And,
okay.
Yeah. And it was not an April Fool's joke. And then the crowd starts like, what? And starts kind of booing at it. Like, this can't be real. Sure. Like, we paid money to be here. And the floor seats of the Dolby Theater are not cheap. I can tell you, floor seats for Mandalorian went up to $700.
Holy crap.
I paid $50 for mine and got great seats.
Yeah.
These folks they had to at least pay $200 for
minimum.
Where they were sitting. Yeah, at least. This was a date night that they had planned months in advance.
Sure. Sure.
And
I love Yellowstone. Let's go see these guys live.
Yeah, this is one of the very few shows that you can probably watch with your significant other.
Right.
Do it, right? Yeah. And you get all the brownie points. And so they bring out the cat. They did have other cast members that stepped up to the plate to fill in for those who didn't. But I remember getting there and I'm like, there aren't 10 chairs here. Who called out? And I remember thinking that going into it. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. We'll get cast members here.
Sure.
And it wasn't their second string cast or supporting cast because they were at the CMT Awards. It was,
wow.
And everybody else, they were at CMT.
Yeah.
Same weekend. When I say this reference, I don't mean it in a bad way. So my apologies in advance if anybody gets offended. But they're third string actors, supporting actors who aren't front runners, but well-known names. I'll give them that. Did a great job. I wanted to give them their respect because they showed up for us.
Yeah.
And the audience was livid.
Right.
They were so upset, and rightly so. I get it. But I have never seen so many fans exit an auditorium.
Gosh.
And you could tell the moderator was upset too. Like she thought her time was wasted also. Right. And I get that. I do. But she should also be a fan of the show to be respectful enough to the actors. And there was a passive aggressive tone that like I wasn't cool with coming from her.
Man. So just weird vibes all along.
Yeah. And it's kind of a train wreck that you can't not watch.
Yeah.
But out of respect, again, for the actors who did show up, like I hope Taylor Sheridan gives them work for the next 15 years based on how dirty he did them.
Sure.
I was so angry for them in general. Josh Lucas answered every question with a huge amount of grace and understanding.
Sure.
Because the actors that they were asking questions to aren't the main actors. Right. They couldn't answer questions pertaining to the next season.
Sure.
So
they don't even know if they're going to be in the next season. I'm sure they are because they're there.
Right.
Know what all, like they don't get the full script. A lot of people don't realize that just because you're an actor on the show doesn't mean you see like every scene and every part of that episode or episodes moving forward. You only normally see what scenes that you're in and that's it.
Right. And they all openly said, we have yet to see a script.
Right. Oh,
and
wow.
Which makes me think Taylor like this was planned on Taylor's part. And he waited till the very last minute to let PaleyFest know. They did have an executive producer there. Mm-hmm. He Dan, but couldn't confirm that Kevin would be back. He's like, I can't see our main actor not returning.
Right.
He's a heavy part of the show. He has a heavy influence in the direction of the show. Mm-hmm. And as far as we know, he wants to be back, but he couldn't say it with a lot of strong intent. And the fans were like, okay, we're so confused. Yeah. But this is, again, telling us everything and nothing at the same time.
Sure.
We wanted to hear it from Kevin Costner. That's what we wanted to hear.
Right.
And he was a no call, no show. I'm calling BS on the fact that it was a production scheduling issue because 100%. Last I checked, all of Montana is still knee deep in snow. Early April, late March. I'm sorry. They're not filming right now. This isn't a production scheduling issue.
No.
And if it was a production scheduling issue, they have, this was in LA. You guys have Paramount Studios right up the road. Right. You guys can go get a soundstage. Don't tell me, like, there's nothing you can tell me to change my mind on this subject.
Right. Or even at least do some kind of like a video message to the crowd for crying out loud. Like the fact that they didn't even have the wherewithal to do that.
Right.
It shows a lot of, I don't even want to know. I don't even know if it's disrespect or just confusion or everything else in between. Mm-hmm. You should at least show that.
Right. And that's why everyone was there, was because they wanted to know if Kevin Costner was coming back.
Right.
And they're like, please just tell us you're filming or want to film the second half. Yeah. Because fans thought that they were going to get the second half of Yellowstone in June of this year. And it's not happening. It might happen next June. depending on Paramount's schedule. But Paramount didn't release a statement. Only one actor released a statement who was scheduled to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I had a prior commitment. I was like, but they put you in writing on this roster, along with 8 other names who didn't show up. And it was his agent that made that statement. And I was like, so how hard is it to let PaleyFest know? Because this guy that came and delivered that news was, you could tell he was just told.
Yeah.
He was this was brand new information. And now he did not know how to tell this crowd differently.
Right. Right. Which, I mean, it's almost like being the, what is it? The Speaker of the House, you know?
Right.
And I've been watching the hell out of some Veep lately. And I'm like, God, I feel like this person has the worst job on the planet, not the president.
Right.
To be able to be like, well, I'm here to deliver the shit news and have a smile on my face while doing it.
That's the thing. I'm not here to discredit the actors for their acting abilities. They're super talented. Yeah. But there was such a better way to go about this. And like in the back of my mind, perfect case scenario, I want to think, I don't know, Taylor Sheridan locked him in a house and said, we're going to get along and we're not leaving till we do. And if that means we miss PaleyFest, then I've got actors on call willing to fill in. Like, I want to know the backstory. I want to hear this account firsthand from Taylor Sheridan to understand how he thought this was going to go over successfully.
Right.
And how he thought he wouldn't get any repercussions for his actions, or how this wouldn't reflect poorly on the cast. Like, help me understand. Yeah. Give me an answer so I can help me help you make this a positive conversation.
Yeah.
Because right now it just looks
we wanted
poorly.
to make sure we were going to do another couple seasons. And this is what it took. And it just coincidentally happened on that weekend. Yes. I think that would be the only answer that all, fans like you would accept at this point, especially the lack of respect that they really showed the fans at this event by not showing up, not having a message, not having a video message, really nothing at all. Just, hey, we're just not going to be here.
Right. It was just bad show, man. So stay tuned, because fans are still diligently waiting right now to find out if they're going to film the second half of season 5.
So besides that, coming up as part of your next 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 episodes coming through from the Fangirls podcast. What can the fans expect? Because I do plan on airing this, I would say, at least by next week. So we're talking middle of April here. What's the next lineup of shows that fans can look forward to? And of course, most importantly, for our Zero Dark Nerdy fans, where can they find you on social media as well as podcast episodes?
Okay. Well, our next fandom event is actually going to be in Salt Lake City. We are going to, so there's a very popular book series called A Court of Thorns and Roses, and it's inspired by that book series. It's currently in production to become a show on Hulu. Okay. And this events company is hosting a Court of Thorns and Roses inspired event. Okay. And it's a whole weekend. And they posted the video on TikTok. Shireen sent it to me and I was like, how do we go to this? We need to go to this. And I just have such good memories from reading this book series. Yeah. That I just was immediately in my feels, and I reached out to the events owner saying we'd love to do an episode and we're going to go cover this event. And it's Memorial Day weekend. Everybody's cosplaying from head to toe as the characters. It's not sponsored by A Court of Thorns and Roses or the writer or anything like that, but it is held by Bookbound Events. Okay. And it's going to be it's a 2-day event thing. And there's like 3 events per day, but the main event is the Starfall Ball. And it's being held at the state capitol in Utah, in Salt Lake City. Okay. So you get to meet book authors and fellow fans and readers of the book, and you meet your book bestie. And I'm so excited to go to that. Okay. But as far as new episodes that are coming up, I can't wait to go see Air, the Michael Jordan biopic. Me too. Oh, I'm so excited for that one. We just we're recording Dungeons and Dragons tomorrow.
Nice. I've heard nothing but good things about that. I can't wait to check that out.
It is really good. It is really good. And if you haven't played the game, you can still follow it. Yeah. No problem. Yeah. we've got Guardians of the Galaxy coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a few other shows in the mix. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're excited. A lot of fun things happening at the Fangirls podcast. You can find us on social. We're mainly on Instagram and TikTok. We do post to Facebook. But if you search us up on or look us up on Instagram, we are the Fangirls podcast.
There you go. Be sure to check her out.
Thanks for having me, friend.
Of course. In terms of next episodes for us, so we just dropped our 5th annual Pop Culture Awards, the Nerdies.
Oh, so the Nerdies, I love this.
Yeah, it's great. We've done this every year, and we just send out for our fans to vote. So it's like the People's Choice Award. So we do best movies, best albums, like wild cards, all kinds of stuff. I think this year we added on kind of like a couple new categories. I think we had like Rising Star, to where fans could vote on someone who they believe is going to be like the Rising Star of the year. Wild card, I believe we just did any television show that you didn't think was going to actually be worth a while, but was pretty good. For a spoiler for that one, I will say The Bear got a lot of votes. Be sure to check out The Bear on Hulu. Fantastic show, especially if you ever worked in the service industry. Check out The Bear on Hulu. You will not regret it. You will get some PTSD, especially for those of you that ever worked in the kitchen. Besides that, I had a great meeting with Saba. Big shout outs to my partner in crime, Saba. We're going to be recording soon. We've done some food episodes here and there, and we haven't done one in a while. So we're finally going to get to do one on our favorite pizzas. So we're going to do favorite pizzas in our hometown. But then we're also going to do favorite chain restaurant pizzas.
Yo.
Yeah.
That's going to be good.
Oh, yeah. And then just because we haven't done a music one in a long time, and all of us, as you can tell behind me, music.
Oh, yeah.
Plays hip hop, metal, R&B, the whole 9 yards. So we're going to do our top 5 favorite debut albums of all time, which we're really excited to do that because it's going to be all across the spectrum.
Right.
We didn't want to just focus on just one genre, which, I mean, the majority of us love hip hop and we love rock. But at the end of the day, it's going to be unique because I feel that at least the 3 of us that'll be on the episode, it's going to be interesting to see the debut albums that you get. I don't think it's going to be what people would just predict by listening to us and seeing us in person.
Okay.
So yeah, interesting.
I'm in.
Interviews coming up, of course. We've enjoyed doing that, but we also want to have a little bit more fun as we approach. As we have hit year 5, and of course, having you, Julie, back on for as many episodes as humanly possible. Thanks, love having you on. These are great, and
I love coming on your show. It's fun. It's
a blast.
I forget that. Oh yeah, I can do this on. Oh yeah,
someone else's show. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I can fan out on someone else's show.
I don't have to edit it. What? This is wild. I'm
in. Big thanks for listening. We're coming up on year 5, season 6, 200 plus episodes in now. Can't wait to just keep it going out there. You guys, the fans, our family out there, you're the reason we keep doing this. And, please feel free to reach out to us on social media. Of course, Zero Dark Nerdy, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that fun stuff. And, of course, the website, popculturepodcast.com, courtesy of our good friends over at Zibster. Big ups for all our comic book fans out there. Be sure to check out our friends over at Rabbit Comics. Again, that is rabbitcomics.com. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah! Victory!
And anger management?
Fuck anger management.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.
You know when you're listening to a true crime story that has an unbelievable plot twist that makes you stop in your tracks? That's what our podcast, People Are the Worst, brings you with each episode. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Rebecca. We're identical twins who love true crime cases that make you say, didn't see that coming, and we hate the people responsible for them. Listen to People Are the Worst now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.